Okay, I finally watched The Thing. I know what you're all thinking. How is someone that is obsessed with horror films, special effects, how special effects are made, has not seen The Thing? And I'm very sorry for my croaky voice. I'm currently fighting off another case of man flu and a sinus infection, so it's just an absolute whopper over time. But I finally got to watch The Thing, and in this series of I Just Watch, or my first time watching, I want to talk about it. You know, I've also watched for the first time this year the original Roadhouse, The Lost Boys, Alien and Aliens. And this has always been on my radar. I think it was one of those things where my parents just weren't allowing me to watch it when I was little because it is full on. This is proper body horror done by the very talented Rob Bottin, who was only 22 years old when this film was made, which is just incredible. Like $1.5 million of the budget went purely to the special effects. And for the longest time, everyone has told me you have to watch this. And it was one of those things where the timing had to be right. I didn't want to rush it because I really wanted to experience this for the first time in the best way possible. A lot of people were commenting on my post yesterday saying, dude, I'm jealous. You're watching this for the first time. I would love to go back, erase it from my memory, and watch this film for the first time. Now, this came out in 1982, a few years after Halloween. This is directed by John Carpenter, stars Kurt Russell. We have Wilford Brimley, diabetes, alongside Keith David. Is it the Frank or the beans? I'm gonna be clearing my throat a lot in this video. Now, the premise is it tells a story of a group of American researchers in Antarctica who encounter the quote-unquote thing, an extraterrestrial life form. The group is overcome by paranoia and conflict as they learn that they can no longer trust each other and that any of them could be the thing. A very simple premise at that, but holy fuck, I enjoyed the shit out of this film. This is a damn good looking film, which is in thanks to the very brilliant Dean Cundey, who works with Carpenter a lot. Obviously, he did the beautiful cinematography for the first Halloween, second Halloween. What I love is the use of blues in this film. There's a lot of nighttime shots. They're out in the middle of nowhere, on location. It looks blisteringly cold there, which is great. You really get a sense of what these characters are experiencing, not just mentally, but physically with that cold. And the use of blues at nighttime looks incredible. I wouldn't say this film looks dated. There are a few sequences and a few shots where certain things, like, you know, you see the ship coming in at the beginning. I'm like, I wouldn't say that looks hokey, but back then, back in 1982, that would look incredible. And I love that from the get-go, there's no fuck around factor. It just gets straight into the story where we see the helicopter chasing the dog, which, by the way, incredible dog actor. Apparently the dog's name was Jed. He's half Malamute. This dog can fucking act. But apparently when it's the running dog, that was a completely different dog, and they actually painted that dog to look like Jed, the main dog actor, which just reminds me of this clip from The Simpsons when they're filming a Radioactive Man movie in Springfield.
What do you do if you want something that looks like a horse?
Usually we just tape a bunch of cats together.
But going back to the story, it just gets straight into it. Like, I'm talking in the first 9 minutes of the film, which I love. And I kind of equate it to Beetlejuice, where Barbara and Adam die within the first couple of minutes of the film. There's just no fuck around factor. Whereas these days, they try and pad all this shit out, really drag things out. But that's what I love about these older films. They just get straight into it. And from there, it definitely is a slow burn, but beautifully executed, where you see certain things happen. You see more reveals of the creature and how it looks, different looks of the creature. And then it goes back to the slow burn, and slowly the crew starts to lose their minds, and it could be any of them, and they all turn on each other at one point. And when it comes to the cast of characters, it's like a proper mixed bag. You got the oldies, you got the youngies, you got the in-betweens as well, like all these different personalities, and of course they all end up clashing. I think if anything, I'd call this Alien and Aliens on Earth in the Snow. Now let's talk about Rob Bottin's special effects. Again, the dude was 22 years old when this film was made. This is proper body horror, but it makes me so uncomfortable just with the designs. And that's not a dig. That's exactly what he had set out to do. The use of tentacles and when they're flailing, it makes me so uncomfortable. I have that weird phobia where it's like holes in the skin. And the transformations are incredible to see. And you can tell that there's different stages that would require a whole new gag, a whole new separate set of molds. And then by the end, when we have the ultimate Blair thing, Blair played by Wilford Brimley, That thing is incredible with like the big jaw coming out the side of what's left of Blair's face. And I love it. It just starts small, obviously, with the dog transformation. And I'm not gonna lie, it really upsets me when animals get hurt, let alone dogs, and this was really bad. Like when the dog transforms and it shoots ooze at that other dog and the other dog's like, stop it. I'm like, oh, please don't hurt the dog. So the things operate by imitation, which is really cool because if you give them enough time, they can completely imitate an animal, a human. I think the scariest shot for me is when they find quote unquote George out in the snow and his hands still haven't morphed into human hands. And he lets out that big wail, and the sound design of the things in the film is great. Sometimes it's like a little mild hiss, and then it's an absolute screaming, roaring creature, just this otherworldly, manipulated, warbling tone. I love it. And this movie is the perfect definition of kill it with fire. There is a lot of fire, and there's a lot of fire stunts in this film. Case in point, Tony Caesar, who did the fire stunt in the first Elm Street of when Freddy runs up the stairs and gets knocked back down. He does a great fire stunt in this film where he smashes out a door into the snow and then gets blown to smithereens. And this film is unintentionally funny. Or maybe it is funny. It was supposed to be funny. It's just got that weird, dark, quirky humor at times. Like at the beginning when George gets shot in the knee and Kurt Russell comes up to him. He's like, you okay? He's like, yeah, it's fine. Give me that. And just starts drinking whiskey. And there's a shot of a matte painting incorporated with the live actors there, which is great. It's obviously remnants of the spaceship in the snow. It has a damn good looking matte painting. Now I'm going to delve into a bit of spoiler territory. I mean, this film came out in 1982, so I mean, I've got no excuse. I should have seen it a very long time ago, but here's your chance. We're going to be talking about spoilers. I love at the end, it's very up in the air with what is going to happen with Kurt Russell and Keith David's characters. Are they going to freeze to death? Are they going to get help? Is help going to come find them? But I kind of love it where they kind of just accept it, share a drink, and just let it be. So guys, in the end, even though better late than never, I fucking adore this film. It still stands the test of time, and I can only imagine being in the theater in 1982 when this thing came out, seeing up on screen Rob Bottin's incredibly disturbing effects, just the design, the creature design, the sounds of the creature, the acting as well, on a whole. Great. Again, you have each end of the spectrums when it comes to these characters. It's just the odd couple at its finest. And then when the paranoia sets in, they just go absolutely ballistic. They don't trust one another. I love when they're doing the test with heating up the copper wire and putting it into the blood samples to see if it indeed reacts. Just shit like that, and the tension as they do it with each blood sample. This is definitely one of Carpenter's finest, and it's a beautiful looking film with that, again, in thanks to Dean Cundy's marvelous cinematography. I definitely want to give it another watch because I feel like there's going to be a few things that I'd pick up that I may have missed the first time around, but also just to go back and see Rob Bottin's incredible special effects. Also, a massive shout out to a friend of mine, Nick, who co-owns the makeup effects group here in Sydney, who did a lot of work on Talk to Me. He owns the original Drew Struzan matte painting. I kid you not, like not a reproduction, the OG painting. He got it directly from Drew, which is fucking incredible, man. Like that thing is like half an hour down the road. So guys, it took me a while, but in the end, this is a damn good body horror, psychological mindfuck of a film. And with that, I'm going to be giving The Thing 5 cranky John Carpenters out of 5. Where's my check? So usually I'd say if you have seen The Thing, drop a comment below. But with a lot of these films that I'm finally seeing, I feel like I'm the last person on earth. What is your favorite iteration of one of the things? That's my question to you guys. I think for me, the spider thing, especially when the legs come out and the two eyes pop up and it crawls away and the dude's like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Kurt Russell has such a distinct yell as well. Okay, you got it. Love you guts, and I'll catch you in the next one.